First Contact and Declaration. Grand Marshal Zorith Var of the Voraxian Empire stood motionless before the massive viewing portal aboard the dreadnought Eternal Dominion. His 4 arms were clasped behind his back, the bioluminescent patterns across his obsidian exoskeleton pulsing with anticipation. For 8 centuries, the Voraxians had expanded across the stars, subjugating over 30 civilizations. None had withstood their technological superiority or overwhelming numbers. Status report on the primitive world, Zorith demanded, his multifaceted eyes never leaving the blue-green planet displayed on the viewport. Supreme Tactician Allura Krev approached, her steps measured and precise. The humans have detected our scout vessels, Grand Marshal. Their primitive detection systems only registered our presence when we allowed them to. As expected, their technology is approximately 2 centuries behind our baseline standards. And their military capabilities. Negligible, Grand Marshal. They possess rudimentary nuclear weapons, orbital satellites with minimal defensive capabilities, and a handful of what they call space stations in low orbit. Our analysis suggests complete conquest would require less than 1 standard cycle. Zorith's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his kind. Send the standard ultimatum. Give them 12 of their hours to surrender and prepare for integration. He turned to face his command staff. Begin deployment of the subjugation fleet. 30 warships should be sufficient. Far below on Earth, in the underground complex of Global Defense Command, General Maya Takahashi stared at the alien transmission that had interrupted all global communications simultaneously. The message was simple: surrender or be conquered. The aliens had given humanity 12 hours to respond. What do we know about them? She asked, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Dr. Aaron Chen, head of xenoanthropology, stepped forward. They call themselves the Voraxian Empire, based on the transmission, and what our deep space monitoring has detected. They're an expansionist civilization with significantly advanced technology. Their ship configuration suggests they're accustomed to swift military victories. And our chances in a direct confrontation? Takahashi asked. Defense Secretary Kamala Williams grimaced. Conventional analysis suggests we'd be overwhelmed within days, possibly hours. They have orbital superiority and weapon systems we can only theorize about. The room fell silent as the implications settled. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and it came in the form of conquest. Conventional analysis, Takahashi repeated slowly. What about unconventional analysis? Dr. Chen exchanged glances with Dr. Ivanov, the quantum physics specialist. There are possibilities. Project Prometheus, Ivanov said quietly. It's untested beyond simulations, but the theoretical applications are sound. Takahashi nodded. And the Ghost Protocol? Operational, confirmed Admiral James Rodriguez. All necessary components were distributed to our deep space outposts last year. We can activate within 3 hours. General Takahashi straightened her uniform and looked at each person around the table. The Voraxians have made a critical error in their assessment of humanity. Throughout our history, when faced with extinction, we have never surrendered. We have always found a way to survive, to adapt, to overcome. She activated the holographic display at the center of the table. Initiate Operation Lazarus. All deep space assets are to go dark immediately. Activate the Ghost Protocol and begin deployment of Prometheus assets, and prepare a response to our new friends. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, Zorith received the human response with growing irritation. Instead of surrender, the human general, a small female by their species standards, appeared calm, almost amused. Grand Marshal Zorith Var of the Voraxian Empire, she began. I am General Maya Takahashi of Earth's United Defense Forces. We have received your ultimatum and considered it thoroughly. Zorith's bioluminescent patterns flashed with satisfaction. However, Takahashi continued, humanity must respectfully decline your generous offer. We have survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own destructive tendencies. we will survive you as well. Zorith's patterns shifted to angry red. You dare. We are not contacting you to negotiate. Takahashi interrupted, her voice level. Rather to inform you of something your intelligence has clearly missed about humans. We don't fight fair. The transmission ended abruptly. Zorith roared in fury, slamming one of his 4 fists into the nearest console. Begin the attack immediately. No mercy protocols. Supreme Tactician Krev approached cautiously. Grand Marshal, standard procedure dictates we wait until they mock us. Zorith thundered. Deploy all 30 warships. I want orbital dominance in 6 hours. The Voraxian fleet moved into position, their massive warships entering Earth's orbit with practiced precision. Powerful energy weapons charged, targeting Earth's major military installations and population centers. No defensive measures detected, reported Krev. Their orbital stations are attempting to communicate, but otherwise, no response. Zorith's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Begin the first wave. The lead warships fired their primary weapons, energy beams lancing toward Earth's surface. But instead of devastating explosions, the beams seemed to vanish. Weapons impact negative, a sensor operator reported, confusion evident in his voice. Energy signatures dissipated approximately 50 kilometers above the surface. Zorith leaned forward. Impossible. Fire again. Full spread. The entire fleet unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Again, the energy simply disappeared before reaching the surface. Analysis, Zorith demanded. Krev was already reviewing the data. Some kind of energy absorption field. Nothing in our intelligence suggested they possessed such technology. Suddenly, alarms blared across the command deck. Energy spike detected, shouted the sensor operator. Massive quantum fluctuations surrounding the fleet. Before Zorith could respond, a blinding flash engulfed the nearest warship. When the light faded, the ship was gone. Not destroyed, simply gone, as if it had never existed. What happened? Zorith demanded, his voice rising with the first hints of fear. Krev's exoskeleton had paled to an ashen gray. Unknown, Grand Marshal. The ship's quantum signature has been completely erased from space-time. One by one, similar flashes surrounded 3 more warships, each disappearing completely. No debris, no explosion, just gone. Incoming transmission from the surface, reported the communications officer. General Takahashi appeared on screen again, still wearing the same calm expression. I see you've encountered our quantum erasure defense system. An unfortunate necessity we developed after detecting your scout ships 3 years ago. 3 years? Zorith stammered. Impossible. Our stealth technology is impressive, Takahashi acknowledged, but not perfect. We've been watching you watch us, Grand Marshal. While you were studying our primitive technology, we were studying yours. From the inside, a new alarm sounded. Internal systems breach. Shouted a technician. Something is accessing the main computer core. As we speak, Takahashi continued, our infiltration programs are extracting all data from your fleet systems. Your weapons technology, your FTL drives, your star charts, all of it now belongs to humanity. You should be proud. You've just accelerated our technological development by at least a century. Zorith's bioluminescence had dimmed to almost nothing, a sign of extreme distress in his species. This is impossible. No, Grand Marshal. This is humanity when threatened with extinction. Takahashi's expression hardened. We have now erased 4 of your ships from existence as a demonstration. The remaining 26 will be allowed to leave our solar system intact, provided they do so immediately and do not return. Zorith stared at the human, his worldview crumbling around him. In 8 centuries of conquest, the Voraxian Empire had never encountered anything like this. You have 1 hour, Takahashi concluded. After that, we will consider your entire fleet a clear and present danger to humanity's survival. And Grand Marshal, When facing extinction, we respond with utter destruction. The transmission ended, leaving Zorith staring at the blue-green planet that had just brought the mighty Voraxian Empire to its knees without firing a single conventional shot. "Orders, Grand Marshal," Krev asked quietly. Zorith turned away from the viewport, his voice barely audible. "Recall all forces. Immediately. Counterattack and resolution." 6 months after the Voraxian retreat, the Galactic Assembly, a loose confederation of spacefaring civilizations, convened an emergency session. Representatives from 17 species gathered in the massive chamber, their agitation palpable. "The reports cannot be accurate," insisted Ambassador Krill of the Novalian Confederacy, his translucent tentacles twisting anxiously. "A pre-FTL species cannot possibly have developed quantum erasure technology. It violates every developmental pattern we've observed across 2,000 years of interstellar history." Ambassador Thex of the Solaran Republic leaned forward, "And yet the evidence is undeniable. 4 Voraxian warships, among the most advanced in known space, simply erased from existence. Not destroyed, not damaged, completely removed from the space-time continuum." The assembly fell silent as a new figure entered the chamber. Grand Marshal Zorith Var, once the pride of the Voraxian Empire, now moved with diminished authority. His once gleaming exoskeleton was dull, his bioluminescent patterns muted. "You have all read the official report," Zorith began, his voice carrying none of its former commanding presence. "But the report cannot convey what we witnessed. The humans allowed us to observe them for 2 years, presenting precisely the technological capabilities they wanted us to see." "A deception?" asked Ambassador Krill. "A trap," Zorith corrected. "While we studied their primitive nuclear fission technology and rudimentary space stations, they were studying us. Somehow, and our best analysts still cannot determine how, they placed quantum-entangled particles within our ship's systems. When we deployed our fleet, they activated those particles." A murmur ran through the assembly. "But that is not why I requested this emergency session," Zorith continued. 3 days ago, our long-range sensors detected an anomaly in deep space, at the edge of Voraxian territory. The central holographic projector activated, showing a massive structure unlike anything the assembly had seen before. It resembled a ring, but with complex geometric patterns throughout its structure, spanning several kilometers in diameter. This appeared suddenly, with no warning. Our analysis suggests it is a quantum gateway of some kind, utilizing principles similar to the weapons used against our fleet. Before anyone could respond, the projector flickered, and the image changed. Now a human face appeared, General Maya Takahashi. "Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Assembly," she said calmly. "Please forgive the interruption, but it seemed more efficient to address you directly rather than wait for diplomatic channels to be established." Zorith stepped back, mandibles clicking in agitation. Ambassador Thex rose. "How are you accessing our secure communications? This chamber is shielded against all known forms of quantum entanglement communication," Takahashi explained. "We've placed QEC nodes throughout this sector of the galaxy. Distance is no longer a barrier to real-time communication for us." She continued, "The structure you've detected is indeed a gateway, the first of many we plan to deploy throughout the galaxy. It allows instantaneous transport of matter across any distance where a corresponding gateway exists." Ambassador Krill's tentacles froze in shock. "That's impossible. The energy requirements alone would be prohibitive using conventional physics." "Yes," Takahashi nodded. "Fortunately, we've moved beyond those limitations. The Gateway Network will allow humanity to establish a presence throughout the galaxy within months rather than the centuries it would take using traditional FTL travel." The assembly erupted in panicked discussions until Ambassador Thex raised her hands for silence. "Is this a prelude to human expansion? A conquest?" General Takahashi's expression softened. "No, Ambassador." Unlike some civilizations, her eyes briefly flicked to Zorith. Humanity has no interest in conquest. We've had enough of war among our own kind to last several lifetimes. She gestured, and the hologram expanded to show dozens of similar gateways under construction. The network will be open to all peaceful civilizations. We're preparing to share this technology with any species willing to abide by a simple non-aggression pact. Zorith stepped forward. And if we refuse? That would be unfortunate, Grand Marshal. Takahashi replied evenly. But we won't force anyone to participate. However, I should mention that the gateways have other applications beyond transportation. The hologram shifted again to show one of the gateways oriented toward a small uninhabited moon. A pulse of energy emerged from the structure, and the moon disappeared. The same quantum erasure principles that remove your warships can be applied on a much larger scale now, Takahashi explained as the assembly sat in stunned silence. We hope such measures will never be necessary, but humanity has learned through bitter experience to prepare for all contingencies. Ambassador Thex found her voice first. You're offering us a choice between cooperation and extinction. No, Takahashi shook her head firmly. We're offering the galaxy a new era of peaceful cooperation and shared prosperity. The erasure capability is a deterrent, nothing more, similar to the nuclear arsenals nations on Earth maintained for centuries without using. She leaned forward slightly. Humanity stands at a crossroads. We could close ourselves off, building walls instead of bridges, preparing for endless conflict as we expand into the stars. Or we could reach out, seeking friendship and alliance, using our discoveries to benefit all sentient life. The assembly remained silent, processing the implications. We choose the latter, Takahashi continued. In 3 standard months, a human delegation will arrive through the gateway to formally request membership in your Galactic Assembly. We hope you'll welcome us as equals and partners in navigating the challenges that lie ahead. With that, the transmission ended, leaving the assembly in stunned silence. Ambassador Thex was the first to recover. It seems we face a pivotal moment in galactic history. A species that could potentially dominate all others is instead extending a hand in peace. Zorith's bioluminescence pulsed weakly. Can we trust them? Their technological advancement is unprecedented. In 6 months, they've leaped centuries ahead. A new voice entered the conversation. Ambassador Lear of the ancient Silurian conclave, who rarely spoke at such gatherings. I have studied Earth's transmissions since they first began broadcasting into space. Their history is indeed violent, but also filled with remarkable examples of cooperation, forgiveness, and growth. The elderly Silurian rose slowly. They have fought countless wars among themselves, yet always emerge with a deeper yearning for peace. They have faced extinction-level events, some natural, some self-inflicted, and survived through innovation and collaboration. Their art, literature, and philosophy reveal a species constantly questioning its place in the universe and striving to be better than its nature might suggest. He fixed his ancient eyes on Zorith. Yes, Grand Marshal, we can trust them. Not because they lack the capacity for destruction, but because they understand its cost better than most. 3 months later, as promised, the first official human delegation emerged from the Quantum Gateway. Led by General Takahashi, the diverse group of scientists, diplomats, and cultural ambassadors stood before the Galactic Assembly. On behalf of humanity, Takahashi began, I thank you for this opportunity. We come not as conquerors, but as students eager to learn, and as teachers willing to share. We bring our technology, our culture, our dreams, and yes, our warnings, for we have walked the knife's edge of self-destruction many times. She surveyed the assembly, making eye contact with representatives from each species. The universe is vast beyond comprehension, filled with wonders we have only begun to discover. It would be a tragedy beyond measure to explore it through the lens of fear and domination, when cooperation and mutual respect can take us so much further. Ambassador Thex rose and approached the human delegation. Your words are impressive, General Takahashi, but it is your actions that have truly spoken. you could have conquered. Instead, you offer partnership. The Assembly votes unanimously to accept Earth's membership. As the chamber erupted in applause, Zorith Var watched from the shadows. The Grand Marshal's mandibles clicked softly as he processed what he had witnessed. The Voraxian Empire had conquered 30 worlds through force, yet never achieved the power or influence that the humans now wielded through the simple act of offering peace from a position of strength. Perhaps, he thought, there was something to learn from these humans after all, something that 8 centuries of Voraxian conquest had never revealed, something about the true nature of power. In the years that followed, the Quantum Gateway Network expanded throughout the galaxy, connecting civilizations that had previously been separated by insurmountable distances. Trade, cultural exchange, and scientific collaboration flourished. And while humanity maintained its quantum erasure capabilities, a sword of Damocles that ensured galactic peace, they never again had cause to use it. The species that had once been dismissed as primitive had transformed galactic civilization, not through conquest, but through the most powerful force of all, the choice to extend a hand in friendship even when holding the power to destroy.